There's a place in hell for people who think that they can go without being paid, that they pay to work, that they are compared to any other job after 20 years, 16 hours a day, Monday through Sunday, for 20 years, as a full-time, top percentage, anti-slave trade, supermodel talent and producer, city-based or suburbia-based, 2010 or 5, compared to any anti-slave trade manager who booked them for an agency rate, until they were replaced, 2007, for all campaigns with a contract at the club for slave trade for minimum wage. So the top percentage are the 20-year ones, that first 7-year period. But none of them are compared to any employee or manager for 20 years. It's a place in hell to compare them to any other job, or to believe in punishment for their life, to believe that they do more manual labor for their profession, but for any profession to be compared to something else. It's comparing them to a brothel for minimum wage, to trade in whatever you have, to be drugged, to allow for someone to invade a boundary, to force counseling, to diagnose them, to kidnap them. It's kidnapping for church of abortion, to drug people on GHB, to have them raped to work minimum wage. So when they have nothing to do with people who sin against them, that's how they live. But their enemies die. So families who force counseling aggressively with professionals get arrested because they can't GHB them and have them raped for minimum wage with a brothel, because it's demonic for their lives. So they're never compared to something else after 20 years of working. But managers cannot party on drugs with their kids for slave trade brands who replace the real models. So the real models would have a brand in the stores. And so it becomes working for slave trade brands with hotel managers, with managers everywhere. And so if you worship God, you believe in passive income for the top percentage. They would have to be paid $2,000 per $10,000 from every family, from every household. So an example would be 4 families who pay $8,000, but they could have 5 families so that they have 35. And their cleaning lady could have $2,500 after 20 years of them not having it and their kids not having it. But they had to have that all along for 20 years. So people became homeless, and their network who went to their middle school became homeless. And so it's actually dog coin for people, penniless dog coin, prostitution with dogs, and prostitution for a mental asylum to make them homeless. Just so you know. But their enemies also die, and they go to hell. So they live at the club with the doctors worshiping the healthcare, and their church of abortion families, and their 80-year-olds with 50-year-olds who did that to their kids. So instead of going to hell with their families, they get eaten by wild dogs. There's no place to sleep. You choose. It's them or a brothel. And so all major companies replaced them with a contract because they didn't pay them on time. So they would have to be paid charities for 20 years. So it's being gang raped to have people gang raped for a mental asylum by whores who work for a mental asylum, or being a Christian. So you can't believe in punishment for their lives because they'll arrest you. They have the right to be homeless. But you can't make them homeless. You'll die. Direct deposit, $100K, $5K for 20 years. Direct deposit, $250,000 from winning for the world and completing the 3-year contract through Ford from 2004 to 2007. Direct deposit, the $1.4 million from 2001 to 2004. Direct deposit, the $1 million a year for 20 years when they were replaced by slave trade contracts, 2007. They're the real anti-slave trade supermodels in the world, that first 7-year period. And then they were replaced. The 20-year full-time supermodels who are not slave trade brands signed with print, commercials, theatrical, runway, blogging, in-store celebrity presentations, and then blogging with this paid social media earned the $20 million for 40 years, the $40 million for print, commercials, theatrical, soaps, $80,000 per job. So the highest paid ones earned the $150 million, $75 for blogging, as the highest paid brand owners. It's 10, 5, and 2 million out of LA and New York. They earned the 1.4 million for that 4-year period through Ford, Elite, Wilhelmina, 2001 to 2004. $80K per job. $80K per job. Where they rejected the slave trade employee campaign and they shot with an agency rate, even if it's unrecognizable for e-commerce. It's $80K per $800 or $1,200 job. After 20 years, it's their constitutional right, and they have the highest security who arrest anyone who threatens healthcare. They're just paid, and they have celebrity sales for their celebrity sales anti-slave trade businesses and healthcare. They could have the $35K in donations and $5K of spending money to live on a budget. They are the most exclusive anti-slave trade, highest paid influencers, highest earned paid bloggers. It's their own personal accounts, their own social media, their own websites with their 20 years of paid jobs through an agency.